Okay, welcome to a new episode of Nate's MMA Corner. I'm Nate, and if you watch my show, you're in my corner. Today's episode is a post-fight show for UFC Fight Night. Barnett versus Arlovski, or Arlovski versus Barnett, however you want to call it. Yeah, this main card was phenomenal. It was off the hook. It was amazing. It was everything I said it was going to be. One of the best cards of the whole year. You had good guys winning, bad guys winning, everything in between. Good guy Alexander Gustafsson came in with a dominant performance, getting those takedowns, going for single legs and double leg takedowns left and right, and getting some great ground and pound en route to big victory. Yeah, so let's get started with this post-fight rundown of the main card. So let's get started. So the main event was a heavyweight clash with Josh Barnett, former UFC heavyweight champ, versus Andre the Pitbull Arlovski, also former UFC heavyweight champ. Two, in my opinion, future Hall of Famers in the UFC. This fight was pretty back and forth. It looked like the first round Barnett had some big moments. The second round Arlovski had some big moments. And you know, it was just like, and then in the third round, it looked like it was Rock'em Sock'em Robots, and then Arlovski gets taken down against the cage and then submitted, and it was submission rear naked choke round 3. Pretty amazing. Yeah, this is the only fight on the main card that I got wrong on my fantasy picks. I picked Arlovski by round 2, I believe knockout it was. And yeah, Josh Barnett came in there with a good game plan and willpower to win, and he won. And yeah, it was 2 minutes and 53 seconds into round 3. So good job, Josh Barnett, and I say give him a top 10, another top 10 opponent, get him closer to that belt. And Josh Barnett's always fun to watch, the War Master. Then in the co-main event, we had Jan Blachowicz versus my boy, one of my all-time favorites, Alexander the Mauler Gustafsson. And Alexander has been inactive for quite a while, and he still was ranked number 2 in UFC rankings going into this fight. Had he lost this fight, he would have moved down the rankings quite a bit, because Jan Blachowicz is a top 15 guy, not a top 5 guy. And Gustafsson showed that he belonged in that top 5. He got rocked a couple times because Jan Blachowicz hits hard. And Jan Blachowicz, I think, was outsmarted with the takedowns. Gustafsson set up some good angles to get some good attempts at single leg and double leg, and eventually got some of those takedowns, and each time just not only got in the guard of Jan Blachowicz, but was able to create some good space for ground and pound. And that's pretty much the whole fight right there. Alexander, yeah, wins 30-27 unanimous decision across the board. Good job, Alexander. And then we move on to another fight, also on the main card, also in the light heavyweight division. Ryan Bader versus Ilir Latifi. This one, I had in my fantasy first round knockout for Ryan Bader. Turned out to be second round knockout for Ryan Bader. KO knee. Ilir had his head down, and then you see Ryan Bader pop him with his, I believe, right knee it was, and could have been left, but it was a great knee knockout. Ryan Bader looked pretty good in the first round, stuffing any sort of ground threat of Ilir Latifi. Ilir Latifi has a good ground game, but I just called it right that Ryan Bader has a whole nother level of wrestling, being an All-American collegiate wrestler in, I believe, Arizona State. Yeah, so Ryan Bader did his thing and kept it. Yeah, this was some good heavy shots in the stand-up on both guys, but Ryan Bader got that big shot in round 2 to get that drastic, big knockout win. Great job, Ryan Bader. And I called it too, I believe I called this on my pre-fight show, Ryan Bader versus Alexander Gustafsson. I think the winner of that fight should get a title shot. They're both top 10, actually top 5 ranked guys, especially after these big wins. And I just, I gotta say, the winner of this fight should get either a John Jones fight, a winner of DC and Anthony Johnson fight, something along those lines, because they're right there. And I believe both Ryan Bader and Gustafsson need one more win to kind of legitimize a title shot. They got to get that extra mountaintop peak to justify a title shot, and I think it would be a good fight. Fight for the fans, fight for them. And I like Ryan Bader, don't get me wrong, I hope he's not watching this, but an easy win for Alexander Gustafsson. I think stylistically matching up, Gustafsson would be able to use his wrestling takedown defense, his wrestling offense, and his height and reach advantage over Ryan Bader and outpace him and probably get a knockout. Yeah, so it'd be a good fight for the UFC matchmakers if you're watching. Then in the lightweight division, to kick off the main card, we had Nick Hein versus Taiyong Bang. Taiyong Bang's experienced veteran in the UFC, but he was hit and miss in the UFC. He would win, lose, win, lose. Nick Hein's more consistent. And then the James Vick fight, I felt like James Vick was running around a little too much, and I felt like because James Vick was kind of running around that last round way too much, that Nick Hein should have won that. And had he won that, he would have been, I believe, 4-0 in the UFC, because he was coming in, I believe, 3-1 in this fight. But yeah, Nick Hein would have been undefeated in the UFC outside of that match going into this fight. And now he's 4-1 in the UFC, I believe it is. So, yeah, there you have it. Yeah, Nick Hein, he won unanimous decision. It was 30-28, 30-27, and then 29-28. I don't know where they got the 29-28. Well, you know what? Yeah, Nick Hein, I mean, this was a stand-up war. It was, good technical striking on Nick Hein's part. No big power punches, just more point shots. And it was a good, clean win for Nick Hein, winning in Germany with the hype. But yeah, let's check real quick. Nick Hein. Yeah, he would have been 4-0 going into the UFC. Going into this fight, it being his 5th UFC fight. So yeah, he's 4-1 right now in the UFC. And yeah, there you have it. Stay tuned for, that wraps up this episode. Stay tuned for my next episode, which will be a pre-fight show for UFC 203. The UFC heavyweight titles on the line. Stipe Miocic versus Alistair the Reem Overeem. One of the greatest heavyweight title fights in UFC history. And yeah, that episode will be coming soon. Pre-fight show of that. Until then, see you. But before I see you, something to my diehard fans that check out my Facebook. This picture I haven't been able to get on Facebook due to just the way the picture turned out, and I wasn't able to get it scanned digitally yet. But Andre Arlovski, for those of you watching, yeah, there we go. There's my Arlovski pick right there. Okay, see ya.